guys. I've been kind of struck with this question lately, just in social media, and I wanted to. Hopefully, I'm going to think through it, and I'm hoping that it will allow some clarity, especially on maybe some younger folks. And what I'm about to say is not trying to bait anybody. It's not trying to insult anybody or anything like that. But I have a few general questions, and then a few. Maybe just one general question and maybe a couple of observations. The biggest thing that I have seen, and I hear this kind of slide out of the mouths of some of the younger stuff, and just forewarning, this is an LGBTQ conversation. But what I hear when it just kind of travels out of somebody's mouth is that they're non-binary and homosexual, and I don't understand how to connect those dots, because by definition, to be homosexual, you would have to claim one of the traditional sexes, and then be attracted to that traditional sex. So that's one of the big ones, is sort of like that. There's that thinking out of, how you would classify yourself. I guess that's the biggest question I have, because I've been hearing, I've heard it at least half a dozen times, and it's typically in younger folk where they say I'm gay non-binary, and it's, well, how do you do that? How do you make that one work? And then the other one, the observation I have is, the claim of the LGBTQ community, and I think it's Q plus. And again, I'm not trying to be insulting, and I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong. But those seem like a bunch of different issues and a bunch of different positions, all kind of mushed into one thing. And I've noticed that older folks who are homosexual and just classify as gay, and some of the younger folks are like, wait, why is this all one thing? Like, this is not one thing. Like, all of these different issues, they're not all one thing. And then the issue, I suppose, becomes, you kind of have people, hitching to the wagon, and that's fine, but where they're having issues that really have nothing to do with you, and they're taking positions and they're making efforts to kind of latch onto the group or that affect the group. And it's like, I think the group is just too big. I think it's just too many issues all mushed into one thing that really, they don't have anything to do with each other other than a broad-based sexuality. But that doesn't, okay, so people have certain sexual preferences. It doesn't mean you mush everybody into one thing, because then you can kind of get into like kink and fetish, you can get into heterosexuality and all this kind of stuff, like more traditional views. I mean, if it's just a sexual issue or an issue of sexuality or identity, I don't know. It just seems like a bunch of issues that are all kind of mushed into one, and then you have people kind of like attached to, guilty by association, attached to maybe beliefs that they don't even carry. Like, they don't carry these beliefs. And one of the big ones that I have seen is in the gay community that like the people that I follow, is that a lot of them are like, okay, this is getting to be a bit much. But then there's like this really big line where the folks that I follow are like, hey, we're stepping into kid spaces now, and that is not good. Like, we knew that's a full stop, and I applaud that. I applaud those guys for speaking out and saying, hey, this is new. And this goes beyond inclusivity and all this kind of stuff, and now you're crossing lines, and that ain't gonna happen. So I think it's sad, because you have some really good people and some kind-hearted people who are kind of being attached to things that they don't believe, just because this association is like so huge. I think the issue itself has just gotten to be really big, and I don't know who's like making that. Like, who gets to decide what a group is? Like the whole LGBTQ thing. It's like, well, who put that together? You know, who was the guy? Who was the where was that conversation? And I don't know. I think within that community, I think it would be really helpful for people to distance themselves from just this big mush and melting pot of different positions, different views, different identities, all that kind of stuff that are not necessarily their view. Like if I was gay, I would say, okay, I am gay. Oh, you're part of the LGBTQ community? No. And I would get on my social media and just say that, like, nope, I'm a homosexual, and that's where I start and stop. And I have my views within that, but I'm not taking on the whole group. Like, sorry, you know what I mean? Like, that ain't happening. So I don't know. It's been a big one, and I've been seeing a lot of it lately. And I have been seeing some folks that I follow really take that same position to say, hey, look, this is getting out of hand, especially when it comes to getting kids involved. It's like, no. Hey, because I got to tell you, man, even if I were whatever I am, I will never associate myself with a group of people that want to affect children in certain ways. Like, it just, sorry, you know, that ain't good. And I'm not saying it's just that community either. But yeah, a lot of interesting questions, I suppose, in there.